What's up guys, Rob Sambles here, welcome to my new video. Today we're taking a look at my camera roller case that I use for my sports photography, more specifically for my football photography. Now I was going to do this video a little bit more about a review of the actual bag itself, because it's a fairly new bag to me. This is the Amazon Basics roller case. You guys would have seen this probably on my Instagram. If you haven't seen it, it probably means you're not following me on Instagram. I don't know why, because you should be. I'll tell you about that in just one second. Instead of reviewing the case, we're actually going to have a look at what's in the bag. So I'm going to show you what I use and the amount of gear I can fit in here, because I think when you guys see the detail of the bag and the amount of stuff that I can fit in, that in itself is a great review for the bag, and one of the reasons why I love it is the amount of stuff that I can fit in here. So before we get into that guys, don't forget to go check me out on my other social media channels. I'm on Twitter, you can find me there, I'm going to put it on the screen right now. I'm also on Instagram, I'm actually on Instagram in 3 different places now guys. You can check all those channels out right here. The top 2 you're probably already familiar with, those have been around for a little bit longer, but the bottom one of those, Rob Sambles Sports, is a brand new channel, something which I set up just recently. Going to be loads of sports stuff going on there. If you guys are fans of the sports photography, that's the main channel to go check. Check out the others too, but make sure you follow that one because that's a really important one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel guys, hit that subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, thank you very much, I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that notification button, that's the little bell icon next to the subscribe button, because that's going to let you know every time I upload a new video. So the idea of today guys is we're literally going to take a look inside this bag in a lot of detail. Now this is literally the bag and the gear and the setup that I took to shoot football last night. I took this to Stamford Bridge to shoot Chelsea against Norwich in the FA Cup replay. Hell of a game, anyone who watched it, football fans. It was great apart from the fact it poured down with rain for the last 40 minutes. It was horrendous. So this is literally the stuff that I took and the layout that I took. I should just, to be completely transparent, I also had a little backpack with me which just had waterproof gear in it. Had my raincoat, it had my laptop rain cover hood, which I'm going to do a bit of a video on that, so I won't show you that right now. But everything else was in this case and on this case right here. So this is the whole lot. Couple of things to show you guys first whilst we've got the full screen. I'm going to zoom in a minute and show you guys a bit more of the bag in detail, but the beauty of this bag, it's a roller case which I really love. It's got the extendable handle that comes out the front, which just means it's really easy to wheel around. It means I can wheel it all over the place. I don't have the weight on my back, which is fantastic. It's got clips and stuff on the side. There's a clip on the side here where my stool goes. I've got pockets on the front, the side. There's a big pocket in the back as well. It carries everything all in one place. One of the best things about this bag. So let's take a closer look inside. Okay guys, so we've moved in a little bit closer to the bag now, so you can actually see the gear itself. Now, this isn't so much, like I said, a review of the bag. This is more about what's in the bag, because a load of people, it's the biggest thing people ask me. Do you still use a 7D Mark II? Do you still use a 300mm? Do you know? And I think people sometimes can't believe the fact that I use some of that gear, but I do, guys. I don't have the budget for the the 400 2.8. Carrying 3 1DX Mark IIs. I just I don't have the option to work like that right now. So this is the gear I use, and hopefully you guys will find this. Now, I still always say I shoot on a budget, because in reality for sports photography I do. Some people will say, oh, it's not really that much of a budget because some of that gear costs a lot of money. Look, it does, but you got to remember, if you guys go back and watch the history of my older videos, I started out with gear that was worth a lot less than this, and I've gradually built it up by doing the work that I had with that cheaper gear in the first place. So that's a really important thing to remember. So look, let's get into it. First of all, the flaps on the outside of the bag, real simple. The little pouch in the top. In here I just keep some lanyards, spare ones. I use those for a lot of the time when you go to games you get given accreditation that you have to wear around your neck, but they don't give you something to hang it around your neck, so I always just take a couple of spare lanyards that I can use. I've also got my couple of set accreditations in there. Some of the teams I work for, you guys are familiar, I work with Fulham, so I've got my accreditation for Fulham and a couple of other bits in the front there as well. Also in here, I've got my, and that's my BBL accreditation too. I've also got in here my laptop security cable. So this, anyone who's not familiar with this is a cable that you can lock to your laptop, and then you can lock it around like a table leg or something. Really important piece of kit for me. I often have to leave my laptop in like a media room or something like that, and in reality sometimes there are people in those kind of places who will try to steal your gear. If you guys follow sports photographers on Twitter, things like that, you'll have seen there's a lot of conversation about it right now, because unfortunately they're having some big stadiums, including some that I shoot in, so Fulham, Chelsea, Wembley in particular, where photographers have had gear stolen from the media room, and that's why locks is a really important thing to have. So that's my laptop lock. That's everything that's in that front pouch, I think. No, sorry. Oh, that's my Fulham accreditation. So what was the other thing? Oh, the other thing was business cards, pen as well, random pen in the front there. That's everything that's in that front pouch. So there's two side pouches. You guys can see one of them down here. This one's actually empty, but just to show you the fact it's got two of them. And in the same pouch on the other side, I have in here two very important things. One is my memory card reader. So this specifically, anyone who's interested, this is a Lexar USB 3 memory card reader. I find this really, really great. Lexar professional memory card reader. A real good one to use. A friend of mine recommended this one, and I find it really great, and I use that too. I also have in that side pocket another memory card reader. This is an eBay special, as I would call it, £10 off eBay. It's much slower, it's not as quick, but it's a spare one. So in case that first one packed up, I've got this spare one that I can use so that I can still read memory cards to my laptop, because if I can't do that, I'm in a whole world of trouble. Okay, that's the pockets, guys. The only other thing on the sides, I have my little walk stool. So this is a adjustable height stool, which I use for some of my football games. I also have my like beige plasticky chair that you guys have seen. That's been in loads of videos. It's in my accessories video, it's in my what's in the boot of my car video. Go check those out, guys, if you haven't seen them already. I'm going to put a link to both those videos right at the end of this video, so you'll be able to link those together and you better see some of the stuff. But that's the stool which I always use for Chelsea, because Chelsea has a much higher advertising board that you have to sit behind, and this is taller than my plastic stool, which means I can see over the advertising board. I spoke about locks. On the front here, guys, I've got a like a big, this is like a bike chain. So when I go to a media room, if I have to leave my case in there, there's three things I do. Well, two things I do. On the zip, I've got a padlock, which hopefully you guys can see down here. That's the padlock. So the actual bag is padlocked closed, and then the bag itself is then locked via this to a table or something else that's steady. Look, if someone had some bolt cutters or something, they'll get through this lock, yes, but the idea is it's a deterrent. Somebody will, you know, who's confident, will go into a media room and pick up a bag that's not theirs and walk out with this, walk out of there as if it is, because people won't notice. If someone starts taking a bolt cutter to my bag, someone's going to think there's something suspicious going on. So let's look in the bag itself. So first of all, in the top section, another thing I love about this bag is it has a little padded flap in the top of the lid here for my laptop. So my laptop goes in there. People who are interested in the laptop itself, this is a brand new laptop for me. I'm loving it so far. It's so quick compared to my last laptop. This is a Lenovo ThinkPad. I think it's a T440p specifically, but a real great laptop, so much quicker. It just fires through Lightroom and Photo Mechanic and all those programs, which slowed down my old laptop so much. So that's my laptop, guys. Essential, one of the most important things. Okay. So I'm going to do some of the random accessories and stuff I have in here first, and then I'll show you guys the gear. So a camera strap. Now I actually rarely use a camera strap for football photography. The reason being that my big lens is on a monopod and my small lens sits on the floor next to me, but I have this just in case, especially when I'm walking around at the beginning doing like stadium shots and stuff. I'll have the camera strap with me that I can use. This is a sling strap. It's actually not a Black Rapid strap, it's like an imitation one, but all of the fixtures and fittings are actual genuine Black Rapid ones, because I changed them over just because I wanted to make sure I had the best and most solid fixture, because this is the bit that holds the camera. That's the strap. Other bits in here, I've got a cleaning kit, so that's just an air blower, a brush and a cloth. You guys should be hopefully familiar with what that stuff's for. I always carry that with me just in case. I've got my various connectivity bits. I'm not going to talk you through what's in the bag here, but that's my TP-Link wire, that's my power pack, that's my Ethernet cable. I've done a video, guys, all about my connectivity options. Check that out and it will explain to you everything about those options right there. There's a rain cover, so this rain cover is for this bag itself. Handy is in a little pouch, it folds out of there and it covers this whole bag with a rain cover if I need it in the bad weather, which I did last night. I used this when I walked back to the station because it was pouring with rain. So we're nearly onto the gear itself. Oh, there's just a tiny little thing down there. This actually, I don't know why this is in here because I didn't use this for any kind of football yesterday. This is actually gels for a flash, all different colour ones. So I've got that in there. I wouldn't really use that for football, but I had it in there anyway. So I don't want someone to go, well, what was that little pouch you didn't show us? So that's what it was. In the back here, I've got some spare batteries. I specifically have, I think 2. Yeah, 2 spare batteries in there. Batteries for my cameras, 2 spare ones. Okay, I'll do the smaller lenses first, then I'll work up to the big one. So a lens in here which really only has one purpose, and that is my fisheye lens. Okay, so this is a fisheye lens. It's an 8mm f3.5. Now this is a cheaper fisheye lens. It's a Rokinon, however you guys would say that. Fisheye lens, fairly cheap. I think it's like about £150, something like that, this lens. The reason I got a cheaper one, you can get like a Canon fisheye lens that's probably £800,000. I only really use this for one thing, and that's when I go to a big stadium or a big arena. I will take a large stadium shot, which I did last night at Stamford Bridge, for example, and I used that fisheye lens to do it. So I always carry that with me. That's for my stadium shots. I then have one of my favourite lenses. So this lens I use for basketball all the time. Don't really use it for football so much, I do sometimes. I have a third camera which I'm actually using right here to film this video on. It's a Canon D60, 60D rather, sorry, which I am filming this video on. But sometimes I will have this attached to that camera and I'll have that with me just in case a celebration runs in like real close or something like that. But this is my Sigma 18-35 f1.8, so it's a real fast lens. I use it loads for basketball. One of my favourite basketball lenses, guys. The Sigma 18-35 f1.8, beautiful lens. Then got my 50mm, or nifty 50 as people often call this. I think plastic fantastic or something they call it as well. I guess because the thing is, the body of it is plastic. But that's a 50mm f1.8, real simple, cheap lens. I use that sometimes for basketball. To be honest, I don't really use that for any football. In fact, I can't really think of when I've used it for football anyway. But it's in the bag, guys, so there it is. That's another lens which I have. I also have sitting under here my triggers. So those are my 2 triggers. I've got my, however you guys say it, Yongnuo, I think you pronounce it. These are the triggers. These are the RF 603C triggers. I use these to fire my remote camera. If I'm doing a football behind the goal remote, or if I'm doing a basketball remote camera, I will fire it with these. I don't have my gear in here for my remote camera because, look, last night, for example, at Chelsea, I didn't use a remote camera. I only use that sometimes, and I'm going to do a whole separate video all about that remote camera, so I won't spend too much time talking about those triggers right now. There's the cable that goes with them somewhere too. Yeah, it's in the bottom. That's the cable that goes with those triggers. And also sitting there I have my dongle. So that's just the dongle that you can connect to your laptop, and it gives you 3G, 4G signal, which I use as one of my connectivity options. You guys have seen that in my connectivity video. So onto the 2 more lenses left, my 2 main football lenses. So when I'm set up shooting football, I have my 2 bodies, which we'll get onto in a minute, with these 2 lenses attached to them. The first one is my 300mm. So that's a Canon 300mm, sorry, I never put it so you guys can actually see it. That is a Canon 300mm f2.8. It's got the hood thing on the front of it right now, so that comes off. That's the actual lens. The hood goes on the front, so it looks a lot bigger like that when it's actually all good to go. 300 f2.8. Now, anyone with a keen eye will know that this is the really old 300. This is the Mark 1, non-IS. Anyone who's an expert, this is the biggest giveaway, like the foot from the lens here. Really old lens, but you know what? It's a decent lens. It's really good, it's sharp. I've had several pictures taken with that lens that have been published in press, national press actually. In fact, there's a photo from last night in The Guardian taken with this very lens, which is great. It's a good lens. I love it and I think it's really good. My other lens, probably my best lens I suppose, or my most go-to lens, is my Canon 70-200 f2.8 IS. So this is an IS lens, which I mostly have turned off for football, the image stabilization. In fact, for sports, I mostly have it turned off. Loads of people ask me why. In most comments from my videos, people say, why do you turn it off? I've done a whole video about that, guys, and why I turn it off, so go check that out. But it's mostly just to do with the fact that it's largely ineffective when you're doing something like sports where you're moving around the whole time. But that's my Canon 70-200 f2.8. It's got like a rubber lens hood on the front. Two reasons why I have that. One, because I recently shot NBA basketball and they stipulated that you had to have the rubber lens, but also because actually I really like it. It's like a shorter hood than most people use on this kind of lens. It's solid. It gives me a bit of protection on the end of the lens without anything breaking, so I really love that. I think it's great. And probably my most go-to lens, because I use this for football, use it for basketball, most other sports that I've shot, I use this for pretty much everything. Really, really beautiful lens, and one of my most heavily used lenses too. Running out of space on this table. So, onto the camera bodies. Now I have two camera bodies. They are both exactly the same. I have two Canon 7D Mark IIs. One right here and one right here. Both exactly the same. One is slightly older than the second one, of course. I bought this one first, so this was my first one. I had anyone who saw my previous video, in fact my 2016 video, I was shooting, I think in that, oh gosh, I can't remember. I can't remember if I had one of the Mark IIs in that video, or if I had a Mark 1 and I was using a 1D3 for a little while. But I was using one Canon 7D2 and then a 7D Mark 1, and now I've got two Mark IIs. One here, two here. They've both got the grips attached. The grips are attached to pretty much everything I do because I use it all the time. For all kinds of sports, I shoot upright sometimes. Basketball especially. Basketball just seems to be a largely portrait focused sport, I find. You guys who shoot basketball probably will kind of know what I mean. So I always have the grips attached. And that's my two camera bodies. Now a question that's going to come up, which everyone asks, is why has everything got orange tape on it? Tape here, tape here, tape here, tape here. It's not so it matches the inside of the bag, this lovely orange that we've got going on here. I talked to you about theft potential. Look, it's a real problem, guys. It's a serious thing that could happen. So I mark all of my gear with orange, so I know clear as day from a distance that this is mine. That's mine. I know it is straight away because it's got this orange tape on the front of it. My other lenses too, orange tape everywhere, orange tape, orange tape, orange tape. So I know sometimes, like Stamford Bridge last night, probably in a 20-foot space, there were probably 12 or 15 photographers, and every single one of those photographers had one of these lenses. But sometimes they're literally next to each other, like there's mine on the floor and 2 inches away there's another guy's lens on the floor. It's orange straight away, I know it's mine, and that's why I have the tape, simple as that, just for easy identification. A, so that I don't accidentally pick up someone else's, and B, to make it obvious if somebody else was to pick up mine, either by mistake, of course, possibly, or maybe because they were trying to be dishonest, to say the least. So that's the gear, guys. That's what's in my camera bag for 2018. That's what I used to shoot football. My basketball setup will be slightly different. I won't have the 300mm here normally for the basketball, but really that's just to make the bag a bit lighter because everything else comes as well. So I still have the space. I could have taken it if I do the basketball, but I tend not to, just to make the bag a little bit lighter. Okay guys, so that's the bag and that's all the gear that's in the bag. That's everything I use. If you've got any questions about any of the gear, please don't hesitate to let me know. Just comment on this video. Loads of you guys get in touch over on my Instagram page, my Twitter page. Feel free to do that as well. But most importantly, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, you found it interesting, even if you just spent 5 minutes of your time and you thought it was good fun, please do hit that like button, give me the thumbs up. It means an awful lot to me, guys. It means more to me than you probably realise. Let me know which gear here that you guys use too, guys, so comment, let me know. If you use this old 300mm, let me know that you use it too and tell me what you think of it. Maybe you used to use this one and now you use a better one, or one that you think is better. Let me know, guys, because very soon I'm going to be changing that lens to something a little bit better. So let me know what you upgraded to, because I'll be interested to hear, because I'll probably be looking at a similar kind of thing. Guys, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one.